Hello everybody, I'm over here with some scissors. I'm not gonna run with them, don't worry. But this time, we're still on the knitting thing. I'll try doing other videos after this, but I just wanted to show you that I ordered one of these knitting machines. It's kind of upside down. There, you can see the picture on the side there and the large one on top. Let me just turn it over so you can see a little bit more clearly. So what this is supposed to do, can you see it? Yeah, there we go. Is you just hook on all the yarn around the circle here, and it's going to be hand cranked. You can see the hand crank right there, and then you can just make whole panels in a matter of minutes, which is a lot faster than doing it by hand, etc. And I just thought it would be very handy for, I don't know, hats and stuff like that. And it's not just circular things, because this looks like it's just going to produce a tube like this down here, but there's also a little button on the side you can see over there. If you switch it, turn it up or down depending on what the graphic will tell you, it'll only go back and forth, and that means you can make panels instead of round things. You can make rectangular ones. Anyway, I wanted to unbox it at the very least, and then we can take a look at what it looks like when it's out of the box. So let's just go do that. Comes with a little instruction manual on how to put it together, I suppose, and also how to use the individual parts. There is a tension gauge in here, this little plastic bag over here. I'll take it out of the plastic so you can see. That goes onto the side. And I've seen some videos, because of course when I order something I also like to look up videos of people already have it to see how they use it. And there was only one who seemed to understand that this little plastic thing is really important, because a lot of other people were trying out this machine and have like missed stitches and stuff like that. Let's first put it together and then we'll continue the story. Okay, got 3 of these little legs that go on the bottom. We'll put those on in a moment. And the thing itself has to come out of the plastic. Gotta be careful with this hand crank on the side. Might want to cut this loose. There. Okay, so this booklet goes aside for a second. There we go, so assembly. This thing goes on top. I don't think it matters which side goes where, so we're just going to put this right about here, like that. This is the end of the yarn that they used to test it with. As you can see, they used a very fluffy purple yarn for this. And I was planning, to actually use a purple yarn to test it with, because it takes about, I believe it said 4mm types of yarn. Now I'm not sure, well the one that had the most success I believe was DK yarn, but I'm not really sure what DK means. If you know what that means, then you know that you need to put mostly DK yarn in here. Although this does look a lot fluffier than the yarn that they were using in other videos and having problems with. So I think I'm going to put on the legs, and then we'll take a look at the tensioner and continue that story. And lastly, we need to put this little thing on here somehow. I'm not really sure. Nope, there you go. So that's it. Alright, great. So, the tensioner. I was going to talk about that. There are a few people who've made videos on this device, and they were talking about how there were missed stitches and split yarns, that sort of thing. Somebody went ahead and put weights like on the edges here to try and like weight it down, create more tension that way, and then it went better according to them. But the other video that I was looking at talked about how this thing over here, right there, it's got different little hooks and things that you can put a yarn through in order to, I don't know, get more or less tension. And apparently you need to do that in a different configuration depending on what yarn you have. And I think that a lot of people that had issues with lost stitches, or drop stitches rather, didn't use the correct tension, and that is a problem for machines like this because they are very sensitive in that sense. Anyway, so let's see. Here is the thing that I was talking about. Currently it's set to 0 and there's a 1 there. I guess 0 is tubular, so in other words the round knitting that you see over here, and then over here you've got the flat line. I guess that means the panel knitting setting. And with panel knitting, say that this were the first hook, because there's always a hook that has a different color. It's currently not in the middle. Let's take a look where he is. Over here, way on the other end. I don't know if you guys can even see my finger. Yeah, there it is. This one is number 1. Say that that one were over here now, right behind this feeder, and you put it to the panel setting, then you can rotate it, and it's not going to go beyond the first hook, because then you have to rotate it back to do the second layer. So that's how you can easily make panels by going back and forth like that, but we're not going to do that yet. At least I don't think so. So yeah, I wanted to try and attach a yarn of mine, which is also purple, which is not as thick as that one, I think. I have a much thinner one over here, so I'm hoping that that will work. It's about the same weight, but first I want to see if I can find any information about what type of tension I need to put it on, or like what the configuration here is supposed to be. Oh, here we go. This is an important page. Can you guys see it? I'll fold it, hang on. Let me try that again. I'm looking over here in the middle. Oops. The subtle yarns, or suitable yarns, not subtle. They're very subtle, but they're supposed to be suitable. So it says here, please note that the different types of yarn may need different tension to work well. Smooth and thin yarns are threaded through all of the notches on the tension guide. Thicker and rough yarns usually work better threaded through fewer of the notches. So in other words, you're going to put, like, you see all these different notches here. There's like 4 of them here, I think. If you have like a really thin yarn like this one, I'll probably need to put that all the way through. And a thicker one like this one probably only had it like on here or here. You have to kind of experiment. That's always the thing with these machines. You have to kind of experiment to see what works best. I think since this is a thin one, I would need to attach this and make it go through all the different ones. I'm going to try to make a knot that's not super thick so that the hooks don't get stuck on it. There. Not the best, but it'll have to do. So normally you wouldn't actually use the stuff that's still on the mill. Most people probably just remove that and then they put their own stuff on it. I'm waving scissors, hang on. So they put their own stuff on it and then it probably will work fine. I don't think I want to do that. I want to put my yarn through all of these little loops. If I could. I'm going to take 2 hands to do that. So I put one through here. And I guess you put one over here as well. Because this thing is going to pull the yarn, I guess, into the right location. There. And then you got another one over here. Or it keeps it like at the right tension before it reaches this thing over here. And actually goes onto the machine. There. Hopefully I did that right. Now they say that you need to unwind a bunch of your yarn beforehand so you can just have like a whole bunch of it sitting around. So I'm going to do a little bit of that at least. And hope that it works. I'm just going to do a few test rounds so you can see how it goes. So I have a little bit of yarn just sitting around here at the bottom, just loose yarn. And I have the hand crank over there. Can you see that? I think you can. I'll put this a little bit further back. And show you the yarn that's kind of just sitting here. But you can't really see that. It's right out of the thing. Okay, so you have like a bunch of yarn sitting right there. So I would now probably need to hold my hand on the thing and then rotate carefully. You got to keep an eye on what's happening. Because if you look, you see all these little white teeth they look like. And the yarn needs to go all the way across. Like when it reaches here, it needs to be down there and not still hanging out over here, because that is a problem. So while you're doing this, you need to keep an eye on that. We're now switching to the light purple. And here is that hook that I was talking about. There's only one hook that is not white in here, and that's the starting hook. So you know exactly where hook 1 is. You don't quite see the purple yet, but that's because it's starting to build up at the bottom, and it's going to come out through the bottom here. Once it gets to be about here, you're going to see it. So that's going to take a while. And this is building up when it shouldn't be. I'll just rotate a little bit until you do see it, and then I'll show you what it looks like. There you go. Now you can start to see the purple in the back there. So we're just going to keep going. And I'm not going to show all that on camera, obviously, because that's going to take ages. It takes about 15 minutes for, I think, a decent sized hat to be created like this. I'm being very careful, like, with rotating it so it doesn't go too quickly. But anyway, so why would you want one of these? Well, it's a lot faster than hand knitting in any case, so that's a thing you could do. If you don't really feel like doing it all manually. Like sometimes you have these charity events where they want you to knit a whole bunch of hats for people or something along those lines, and then you could quickly make a bunch of hats, or winter is coming and people are like, hey, I need some Christmas gifts, could you make something for me? And then you can use something like this. Now occasionally it will drop a stitch. I think I saw one that was dropped, so we might need to figure out this tension a little bit better. Maybe it's a little bit too tight. Maybe I'll just take one off and see if that makes it any better. I'll just take this one off. There we go. That's a little bit less tension then. And we'll see how it works. Or I'm just going to keep cranking it a little bit so I can show you more of the purple stuff. So I'll do that, I guess. Oh, I see what it is. The drop stitch is exactly... I'll rotate a little further so you can see. Hang on. Here. You see that? This is a drop stitch, but also see that the knot is here, and the hook probably didn't know what to do with the knot. So if you do want to work with different colors of yarns, then maybe keep an eye on the fact that it might drop that stitch, because that is not quite compatible. At least the knot did not work out very well. Did not work out very well. Okay, so I've rotated it for a while, a couple minutes, and now we've got this lovely purple line here with the dark purple underneath. Really nice. I like that. So I'm glad they included a nice purple color as their test yarn. Anyway, so this is the Prym machine. There's also the Addy machine. The Addy is a little bit better with its stitching. It doesn't drop stitches quite as often. The thing is, though, the Addy is, at least as far as I could tell, twice as expensive. At least I saw the smaller model that was like half the size of this one cost more than this one. And the, I guess the much bigger one that is about this size, which has 46 hooks rather than 20, is probably going to be twice that, or maybe a third more, I don't know, but it's very expensive, and this one was much cheaper, so I just wanted to get this one to test it out and see if I liked it. And if I'm super crazy about making stuff with a machine like this, then maybe eventually, if I see that I'm going to be using a lot, or using it a lot, then I'll probably find the investment more palatable. Until then, I'm just going to play around with this one because it's just fun to do. So that is the Saturday video. And in case you're wondering why there is a motorcycle riding around somewhere, that's because a certain person doesn't really understand knitting or cares much for it, but he does like motorcycles, so there is something for them as well. Anyway, that's it for this week. Like I said, hopefully next week I'll probably try to do something else other than knitting. This is just a craze that I'm currently on, so everything I'm doing every day, there's something about knitting in there, and so I have to talk about that every once in a while. But I'll see you in another video. In any case, thanks for watching, and bye bye for now.